Ladies and gentlemen, Stunt Coyote here. Just wanted to let everyone know quick that a decent bit of detailed information that I'm about to cover is actually prefaced in a previous video I made called What is Project Base? If you want to be a little more caught up to speed, pause this video and head over and check that one out. It's a quick watch that should make some of the finer points in this video less confusing. With that said, let's get started. I'm here to talk to you today about a Super Metroid Rom hack called Hyper Metroid. It was created and released by Real Red, aka Blood Sonic, on April 15th, 2015. The game contains some of the most ambitious graphic sets, phenomenal use of the original game's tile sets, insane room design, and last but not least, one of the most open-ended exploration sessions you'll ever find in a proper SM ROM hack. Hyper proves the test of time and takes everything that was amazing about the vanilla build of Super Metroid and improves on it tenfold, creating an incredible and not only an immersive experience, but an entirely brand new one. The story is even different, taking place in this new alternate universe where Samus's lover Adam dies, all of her friends and family are killed, and she actually has a miscarriage. All of the events explained in the beginning monologue really push the narrative that Samus has nothing left to lose and is out for revenge against the space pirates that ruined her life. And trust me, she has the means and firepower to get the job done. Samus moves much like she does in Project Base. Your movement isn't halted when you land while running and jumping. You've got your trusty backflip and helpful mid-air respins, as well as the completely broken speed booster mechanics. So why is the movement so closely related to Project Base, you might ask? Well, because Real Red built Hyper entirely off the Project Base Hex engine. Granted, he did add his very own small tweaks, but for the most part, he took Grimes' hack and created something unbelievable out of it. Taking all the great little movement quirks of Project, Real Red expanded the planet to fit all of these new mechanics tremendously well. Samus's jump height's been raised, and with that, more vertical rooms were added to complement it. And with all the ways Speed Booster can be used, the game's horizontal style rooms have been made way larger as well. The world Real Red wanted us to experience has all been built with a highly expansive movement set in mind, but there's one thing that really sets this game apart from the other hacks you might have played. The one and only ammo system. Hyper's ammo system is something completely original and hadn't been seen in other ROM hacks up to this point. In fact, most casual players are sold on the system purely based on how fun it really is. It's entirely unique in the fact that every single missile, super missile, and power bomb tank you acquire are all added to your ammo pool located at the top of the screen next to your HUD. How it works is each different upgrade you use pulls from the overall count in different ways. Missiles cost 1 ammo, supers cost 10 ammo, and power bombs cost 20 ammo. However, the drops you get from enemies also add to your ammo count in the same way, completely eliminating the headache of needing any certain drop to use that specific upgrade. So this really invites the idea of trying to find any and every different item tank you can just to further improve the amount of destruction Samus can cause before you run yourself dry. But what good is all this ammunition for if you don't have an extremely gigantic planet to use it on? Oh wait, we do. Hyper's rendition of ZEBES is 100% completely overhauled and over 3 times the size and scale of the original. It's full of newly added enemies, as well as some familiar ones. The thing that really sets it apart from the other hacks is its level design. It seems like every single room in Hyper serves a purpose and really gives the player every reason to leave no stones unturned. Not to mention how accessible most things are right after you land on the surface. The planet has all the same areas you'd expect from Super Metroid: Criteria, Brinstar, Norfair, Meridia, and Turian, and they're all still very much intact, but revamped so much that it doesn't feel like you're playing a Metroid game anymore. It feels as though you're exploring an entirely new planet with so much visually to offer. Whether that's Meridia's newly added coral reefs, Ridley's dark underground lava lair, or the fact that the wrecked ship is actually built like a ship submerged in the lake and has water up to your waist the second you step in. Hyper throws the player into a massive experience full of exploration and monster slaying action. One thing to note is you can actually have access to the final area Torian almost immediately. However, there are these weird gates that stand in the way. What are those, you might ask? Well, my friend, we have much to talk about. Scattered around ZEBES are a series of 15 gates. These gates all link to the final area of the game and make it completely inaccessible until all are found and triggered. Some gates are easy enough to open, just requiring you to shoot them with your beam or a missile. But then there are some other gates that have special rooms built around them and require you to test your skills with the upgrades you've obtained over the course of your adventure. Some gates you can't even get to until you have certain upgrades later in the game, adding to the overall idea that backtracking and discovering new areas is definitely encouraged. If you're the kind of player that gets curious and loves to look around every corner, you might notice a small area in the Turian entry cave leading to 3 doors. One requires a missile, the other requires a super missile, and the final and third door requires a power bomb. If you're able to make it through these, you'll actually reach the bottom of Turian, where you'll be met with 5 gates, numbers 1, 4, 7, 10, and 13, that are all required to pass. If you've done this, you can actually get one of the game's best items early, the Screw Attack. Otherwise, it's locked away until you travel through Turian normally after opening all 15 gates. Screw Attack adds some horizontal speed to your jumps and rips through enemies, making for an even better excuse to get back out there and keep looking for items to get that sweet 100% rating. Actually, just a quick note about item collection. You can actually look in the pause menu and see how many items you've collected overall on 100%. Also note that you have the completely colored, updated version of Samus in the menu, as well as the ability to equip all 5 of your beams at once. Something completely new in the world of Super Metroid hacks. And enabling the Ultimate Beam, which will allow you to tear through enemies easily as you explore the planet. With all this said, the gate system adds for a fun incentive to explore so you can eventually make your way into Turian and finish your adventure. But how you're meant to go about it can be a little convoluted. The game's quote-unquote intended way to play is a little unclear. Not only is ZEBES gigantic, but you have 8 bosses to find and defeat, 15 gates to worry about, all of Samus's upgrades to obtain and properly be able to move forward with the game, as well as her insane movement possibilities that can lead to even some accidental sequence breaks that can leave the player scratching their head. At the game's release, many people would post on the Metroid construction forums that they were constantly getting lost or running into bosses that were way too strong for them, and nobody knew what the actual intended boss order was. However, looking at each area and deciphering what you are absolutely required to have in regards to moving forward will show you that Hyper's intended boss order is as follows: Phantoon, Kraid, Ridley, then Dragon. If anything, I hope this tidbit of information helps new players in their journey. As I mentioned before, the game is full of sequence breaks that allow you to really approach the game from any way you want. There's even a way to get the gravity suit in Meridia incredibly early on, cracking the game wide open in the first 15 minutes of play. What's even better is how well the planet's connected, so hopping from one major area to another can be done in a multitude of different ways with interwoven paths. So even though this sounds like a very good thing, it can also be a very bad thing in regards to exploration, because you're never really quite sure where you need to go, what item you need to get next, or how and where to find the next gate to get into Turian. Speaking of Turian, let's talk about that, shall we? Turian is massive and is built like a giant square that's paths feed back into itself. You'll notice the pipes covered in blood and rust, Zebtites everywhere, and Metroids flying around looking for the next living thing to kill. There are actually 2 different species of Metroids in Hyper as well. Red Metroids are a lot more aggressive and have 3 times the amount of health as the green Metroids do. The room where you meet the baby Metroid is also different and unique, leading into a horizontal acid room that can either take you further into the depths of Turian, or lead you back to Screw Attack and back towards the surface. It's at this point where you can either continue on to destroy the evil Mother Brain, or go and explore more of the massive world of Hyper. Mother Brain herself is terrifying. She's a dark red, half-mechanical death machine that breathes yellow smoke and drools blood. Even though the fight is the same, it had me on the edge of my seat the first time. Once she's destroyed, the self-destruct timer appears and shows 10 full minutes to escape ZEBES. The escape sequence is fantastic, having its very own unique rooms in Turian leading you back to the surface and the bottom of Norfair. You can run into your friend Jaquio that clears a path for you to keep moving as well. You continue up through familiar rooms that connect back to Brinstar and eventually Criteria. What's neat about this escape is ZEBES is visibly falling apart, and rocks and boulders will block your way as you head towards your ship, making for a stressful, yet exciting escape that'll get your blood rushing. So, the question stands. Should you play Hyper Metroid? 1000% yes. This hack has everything to offer in the way of excellent movement, a beautiful world to explore, and challenging bosses to overcome. The ammo system makes for some clever item management, and the gate system helps to build a world where you're greatly rewarded for peeking around every corner. It's clear that Real Red wanted to deliver the end-all be-all of Super Metroid Rom hacks, and Hyper stands to not disappoint. You can find this hack for download on MetroidConstruction.com, and if you're interested in speedrunning the game, you can also search for it on speedrun.com/Super Metroid Rom hacks, and just click on the Hyper Metroid hack tab. We have all sorts of tutorials and runs that you can watch to learn the game. So with all this said, this has been Stunt Coyote, and I'll see you next mission.